Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Gauranathai, Gauranathai, Jaya Gauranathai, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruhu Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरपुषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधौ जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So thank you for coming in this Bhagavad Gita class which happens every day in ISKCON Whitefield, and it's very important to come together and discuss Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, because in this age of Kali it's very difficult. All the minds are always disturbed, and the only way to pacify the minds and to actually achieve the goal of life, which is self-realization, to attain the Lord in this human form of life, which is very, very rare, right? Which is very durlabh, this Manushya Janma. So coming together and discussing Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam is very rare and is very, very glorious. So we find that many people, almost many people are not even interested in spirituality, in Krishna consciousness. But very few rare souls are there who show interest. So if we find that, then we should help. First, we should help ourselves, and we should also help others to hear this message of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and perfect the human form of life. So, but this setup which we are having today for the discussion of these glorious scriptures, this all credit goes to Srila Prabhupada, and the whole Guru Parampara, because the whole Guru Parampara is responsible for carrying this pure message. This message is not interpreted, it's not misinterpreted, as it is. The message is coming down from the Lord till us, and it will continue through the Guru Parampara. So it's very, very important to be grateful to all the acharyas, especially Srila Prabhupada, because Srila Prabhupada has given this glorious message of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam in a very simple form, which we can understand in the age of Kali, right? The intelligence is going down, the memory power is going down. So in this particular age, how can we understand the message very, very simply, and then we can practically apply it? So that credit goes to Srila Prabhupada. He has helped us in that way. And what all sacrifices Srila Prabhupada has made to give these literatures to us, right? We cannot even count those sacrifices. And so, like, he used to sleep for just 2 hours, 10 to 12 every day, and then he used to translate Srimad Bhagavatam from 12 o'clock to 4 o'clock. So an ordinary human being cannot do that. In just 12 years, he went across the globe 14 times and opened 108 temples across the world in just 12 years. And from zero, nothing he had. And then he started such a big movement, and he created so many temples and so many disciples. those people who don't know anything about Krishna, can you imagine? We at least knew that, okay, who Krishna is, and then at least we knew something about Krishna. But those people who knew nothing, and then they came to Krishna consciousness and they became exalted devotees. So it was unimaginable, unbelievable, which Srila Prabhupada did. So definitely he's not an ordinary man. No, he directly came from the spiritual world to spread the message of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita all across the world, and then he went back. So, yeah. Yes.
Prabhupada started at the age of 72.
Yes.
Why? He started at the early age in youth stage. So, और बड़ा हो सकता. So why?
He was in India. He was trying so many things. There was an institution called the League of Devotees, which is set up in India, and it was a great success. But after some time, it went down. So he did so many things. He started this magazine, Back to Godhead, and so many other things we cannot even count. So he was doing so many things, so many endeavors. But somehow or the other, those endeavors were turning into failures. Obviously, they had great success, but after some time, they were turning into some failures. But it was an arrangement of the Lord, actually, right? Which we could know when he actually crossed the ocean, and then actually started this institution ISKCON, when he was there in US, right, America. So after that, it was a boom, right? So it was a boom. So it was all the arrangement of the Lord, actually, right, to show that how a pure devotee of the Lord always thinks about how to set up or how to contribute to this movement and how to take this movement ahead, and then bring more and more people to this particular movement of Krishna consciousness, and more people should be benefited, right? A pure devotee is just endeavoring to please the Lord. That's it. No other desire he has, right? No selfish desire, nothing. At every moment he is endeavoring to please the Lord. And that's what is, it's about, the today's verse is all about, right? So we will be having verse number 64 from second chapter. So 2.64. Yes, so the second chapter, if we see the English version of Bhagavad Gita, so it is called The Contents of the Gita Summarized. Okay, we can see that the whole philosophy is covered in this particular chapter, actually, and everything. So if we go through this chapter very, very nicely, we'll get the whole summary of the Bhagavad Gita, right? So just to give a quick background, we'll be having a very short discussion. It's a discussion. So in the first chapter, we see that Arjuna, when they come, when the Pandavas and the Kauravas come together in the battlefield to fight, then we see that Arjuna tells Krishna to take the chariot in between the two armies, and Arjuna wants to see, okay, who all people are there with whom we have to fight. So Arjuna sees, okay, then Krishna takes the chariot, and then he places the chariot in between the two armies, Pandavas and Kauravas. Now Krishna says to Arjuna that, okay, Arjuna, now you see who all are there. So then Arjuna sees that there are my relatives, my teacher Dronacharya, my grandfather Bhishma Pitama, all my brothers are there. So all my relatives are there. How can I kill them? And by the way, so he gives so many reasons that I cannot kill my elders, right? Otherwise, so many sinful reactions will come, right? And then so many other reasons Arjuna gives. If I win the kingdom, let's say, if we win the kingdom, and if we kill everybody, who will be there to share that happiness with? So then what's the point of getting the kingdom? I'll not be happy only, right, by getting the kingdom. So all these, there are more reasons. So Arjuna gives those reasons, and he tells Krishna that I will not fight. So finally, that is the thing. So then can you imagine Arjuna, the greatest warrior of that time? Yeah. So he tells Krishna that I will not fight, and from his hand the bow is falling down. He's sweating. All his senses are drying up, and everything is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. Actually, Arjuna tells that my senses are drying up, I'm not able to hold this. Arjuna was not able to hold his bow. So this was happening with Arjuna. So he gets bewildered completely. Then Krishna starts speaking in the second chapter, and he starts with the fundamental of Krishna consciousness, which is the difference between body and soul, right? Because Krishna wanted to pull Arjuna from the domain platform of body, the bodily platform, to the spiritual platform. And he wanted to make Arjuna understand that, hey Arjuna, see, you are not this body. Even the people whom you are seeing in front of you as your relatives, as your, which are, you're seeing them as related to your body, that he is my teacher, he is my brother, he is my grandfather. All these are bodily relations. So they are not that actually, they are spirit souls, right? So that's what Krishna wanted to set up or establish at that time. And then again Krishna gives so many characteristics, analysis between body and soul. Body is temporary, it dies. Soul never dies. We cannot make the soul wet. We cannot break the soul. We cannot dissolve a soul. And body is temporary, basically, in a nutshell, and soul is always permanent, right? And soul just keeps on changing the body, but a body is temporary. Body dies after one lifetime, right? So that's what Krishna does, and then he comes to another kind of analysis, and then he tells in one of the shlokas that we should develop divine consciousness, not the material consciousness, divine consciousness. And then now, so we are coming till this verse slowly. So then Arjuna asks a question in verse number 54. Let me just read that for everybody. So Arjuna asks, okay. Now Krishna has told that we should develop divine consciousness, right? Now Arjuna wants to understand how the person who is having that particular kind of consciousness, who is always in transcendence, who has divine consciousness, how that person is actually, right? So he asks 4 questions. So in the verse number 54, Arjuna asks this question to Krishna that, "O Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence?" So means he's talking about that person who is always in transcendence, right? Whose consciousness is always divine. So what are the symptoms of that person, right? We see that if a rich man is there, he has some particular symptoms, and if a diseased person is there, a particular type of disease is there, he has particular symptoms. We can understand, okay, this disease he has. So similarly, a person who is always having divine consciousness, what are the symptoms? I want to understand, Krishna. Please tell me, right? What are his symptoms? Second question he asks, how does he speak, right? And what is his language? How are his dealings, basically? Third question he asks is, how does he sit? So it doesn't mean literally how does he sit, right? It means that, how does he control his senses, right? And then the fourth question, which we are going to take up today, which Krishna is going to answer today in this verse. Fourth question of Arjuna. Already the 3 questions have been answered in the previous verses, previous to 64th verse. So we will directly take up now the answer to the fourth question of Arjuna. So the fourth question is how that person walks. Now it doesn't have a literal meaning how he walks, but it has a meaning that Arjuna wants to ask to Krishna that how his actions are. How does he act? How does he walk means how does he act? How can we see that, what kind of actions that person performs, who is always in divine consciousness. So now Arjuna wants the answer to this question. So then Krishna answers, so verse number 54, these 4 questions Arjuna is asking. Then from 54 till 63, Krishna is answering 3 questions. 4th question is being answered in this verse. Okay. So we'll directly go to the 54th verse. Now the question is, let's remember again. So the 4th question is, Arjuna is asking, a person is having divine consciousness, how does he act? What kind of actions he performs, right? So now Krishna is answering, verse number 64. So today's verse is like this. Maybe you can also repeat after me one by one. Raga dvesha vimuktaisthu
द्वेषासमुद्रेषु
विषयान् इन्द्रियैश्चरन्
विषयानिन्द्रियश्चरन्
आत्मवश्यैर्विधेयात्मा
आत्मवश्येर्विधेयात्मा
prasadam adhigacchati.
प्रसादम् अधिगच्छति.
Okay, so we will go to the translation. Can someone read the translation loudly by looking at the screen? So this translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So translation you can read.
But the person free from all attachments and aversions and able to control with the senses through regulative principles of a freedom can obtain the complete mercy of Lord Sri Krishna.
Yes. Yes. So as the translation goes, we will read purport also. It's a small purport, but it is very, very meaningful. So many things are hidden in this. Srila Prabhupada is trying to convey. So if we read the translation again, but a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses. So Krishna is talking about a person who is free. First of all, who is free from all attachment and who is also free from all aversions, right? And he is able to control his senses. By what means? How he is able to control his senses? Through regulative principles of freedom. Now we'll understand what does it mean. So what will be the result if, let's say, that person is able to control his senses and he's free from all the attachments, he's free from all aversions. So what will be the result? How that person will be? So that person, or what will happen to that person? That person will actually obtain the complete mercy of the Lord, right? That will be the result. Now let's try to understand what does it mean by becoming free from all attachment and aversions, and how that person is able to control the senses, right? It's a big question nowadays. So many people, want the answer to this question, and they want to practically control their senses. And they say that the mind is not controlled, the senses are not in control. How can we control the mind? First of all, this question is very, very practical and very important. So many forums, this question comes up. How to control the mind? And so many motivational speakers are coming up, and so many people, leaders, and so many people, they are giving so many different kinds of tips or ways to control the mind. But actually, the source is in Bhagavad Gita. Right? This we need to understand. The source of everything is in Bhagavad Gita. Everything is coming from Bhagavad Gita itself. So if you read Bhagavad Gita, if you try to understand it as it is and try to apply it in a simple way, simply as it is, then we will see that we don't need to go to some motivational speakers or this and that or any. Just a minute, let me. So we don't need to go to anybody else. We can just read Bhagavad Gita, understand it nicely, rightly, and then apply the principles. So then we can attain all the results. All the everything. Basically, we can attain all success. So let me complete a little bit, and then we can take it. So here it is mentioned that person is able to control his senses, but how? That's a question mark, right? And the answer is given here. Through regulative principles of freedom. Now, there's a contradiction here. If you see, here, try to observe regulative principles of freedom. Now, if you just try to think that if there are rules and regulations, regulative principles means there are rules and regulations, right? There are some regulations. But there is also mentioned, freedom is also mentioned here. So how can these two things be together? There are some rules and regulations, and there is freedom also. If there are rules and regulations, then we can think that, that person is acting under some rules. How is he free, right? So here, these regulative principles of freedom mean that, so these are those regulations which help us to rise above the sensual plane, right? For example, if we see that we are surrounded by the sense objects, right? We have so many things to eat, and then so many things to see, so many sounds to hear. We are in the ocean of sense objects, right? And every time all the senses are hungry to get enjoyment. right? The eye wants to see something good. The ear wants to, the ears want to see, to hear something very, very nice. So the senses are always craving. The mind also wants to, think something and then desire, and then always it is desiring, thinking, willing, feeling. So the senses and the mind are always active, right? But a person, who is able to follow the regulative principles, he can actually control his senses, and he can actually give a direction to his senses and the mind. That's what it is being talked about, and then he'll be free, right? Because senses will always want something, but now if we give the senses a direction, a proper direction, right, then the person will actually be free, right? So it is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita that to give up some lower tastes, we cannot give up everything, right? But we can give up some lower tastes by getting a higher taste, right? If you have a higher taste in life, then all the lower tastes will automatically go away, right? It's very simple, very easy. So what is that higher taste, right? And that person will be able to control his senses if he gets a higher taste, right? What is that higher taste? So that higher taste is, if we see the purport now, let's read the purport. It is already explained that one may externally control the senses by some artificial process, but unless the senses are engaged in transcendental service of the Lord, this is the key. Okay, so we are giving the direction to the senses. We are engaging the senses in a proper way, right? We are not trying to control the senses by artificial means, like I will close my eyes, I'll not see anything. Is it possible? We need to see, right? If you're working, we need to see the laptop. How will we work then? So we cannot control the senses by artificial means, also by doing some exercises, and so today, these days people do some yoga and all the pranayams and all. So okay, it helps to some extent, that the mind becomes calm, the senses become calm down and peaceful. So we will be able to control the senses a little bit to some extent, but that will not, the tendencies inside us will not go away, right? When that tendency comes up, again the senses will crave. They want some enjoyment. So how the tendencies will go away? If the tendencies go away, then we can say that, okay, now the mind will be in control. Now the senses will be in proper direction and control. So that's what Krishna consciousness does. So instead of artificially trying to shut the senses or control the senses, what that person does who is in divine consciousness, how he acts, he uses the senses, or he engages the senses in what? In the service of the Lord. When he engages all the senses, his mind, his intelligence, his body in the service of the Lord, then automatically the senses they get pleased automatically, and that person is very easily able to rise above the lower tastes or lower things in life. And then this question will never come up, that I'm not able to control my mind, I'm not able to control my senses, because the senses are properly engaged. That's what it is all about. So it gives freedom, right? And here, very nicely Srila Prabhupada is mentioning that although the person in full Krishna consciousness may apparently be on the sensual plane, because of his being Krishna conscious, he has no attachment to the sensual activities. For example, we can say devotees are also going out, yeah, right, and they're also working. People who are practicing Krishna consciousness, but they are also coming in contact with the senses. So another person may see, and then he may say that, oh, this person is also acting in the same way as a person who is not practicing Krishna consciousness. But actually there is a difference. The Krishna conscious devotee is also engaging with the senses, and another person who is not practicing spirituality, is not practicing Krishna consciousness, he is also engaging in with the sense objects, right? With the sense objects. But this person, this devotee, is not attached to the sense objects, because he knows that everything belongs to Krishna, nothing is mine. Today I was just hearing a class by His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, and he was saying that false ego means that if I identify with the objects and in such a way that I start calling these objects mine. That this is mine, this kartal is mine, this mic is mine, this body is mine. It starts with this body is mine. So if we properly understand that everything belongs to Krishna, this body also doesn't belong to me. All these, see, this body is made up of 5 primary elements: earth, water, air, fire, ether, and that is Krishna's energy. The mind, intelligence, false ego which I have, Krishna's energy. Everything is Krishna's energy. Even the soul is superior energy of Krishna. It's a spiritual energy of Krishna. So what is mine? Nothing is mine. When a person tries to realize this a little bit also, then what will happen? He will be so happy. Automatically the attachment will go away. That just a minute. So when he understands everything with the right perspective, that everything belongs to the Lord, nothing is mine. Now where is the question of attachment, right? Now when he goes and engages with the sense objects, whatever he is engaging with, all the objects, he will not be attached to those objects, right? Rather he will utilize, he will understand that this mobile also belongs to Krishna. Everything belongs to Krishna. My body also belongs to Krishna. Now let me utilize this body, this mobile, this mic, everything, this kartal, this table, in the service of Krishna. Where is the question of attachment? So then that person will, then we can call that person free. Then we can say that person is actually free, right? So this is the crux of Krishna consciousness, that when he understands that everything belongs to the Lord, nothing belongs to me, nothing is mine, then automatically the lower things and the attachments and aversions, everything will go away, and he'll be able to engage everything, his body also, his senses, mind, and all the objects around, in the service of the Lord, right? So this is the message of this particular verse. Now this is how the person who is having divine consciousness, what do we mean by divine consciousness? He's always thinking about how to serve the Lord, how to please the Lord, right? That person is having divine consciousness. He's not acting in this way, how to please myself, how to please my ears, how to please my nose, how to please my stomach. No, it's not about me. It's about how to please the Lord. Because when we please the Lord, automatically I'll be pleased. So that person is intelligent, right? That person will be free. He'll not be having any attachment. His senses will also be pleased. Just like one example is there. Let's say we want to nourish a plant. So where should we give the water? On the roots or on the leaves separately, on the flowers separately, on the fruits separately? Where should we give the water? On the root. So if you give the water in the roots, automatically the whole plant will be nourished, right? All the parts of the plant will be nourished. So we can relate that example here. That if we please the Lord, if we please the senses of the Lord, if we satisfy the Lord, if we serve the Lord, then automatically my senses, my mind, everything will be pleased. Because just like in the plant, the branches, the fruits, the flowers which are there in the plants, every part, everything is a part and parcel, or a part of the body of the plant, right? So if we give water to the roots, every part of the plant will be nourished, will get the water. So similarly, I am a part and parcel of the Lord. I have emanated from the Lord. Now He is my source. Now if I give water to the source, that is, I please the Lord, I serve the Lord, automatically as a part and parcel, I will also be pleased. I will also be satisfied. So then that person will actually be free from all the attachments to all the objects, and he'll have proper understanding that nothing belongs to me. Everything belongs to the Lord. Let me serve the Lord. And automatically Lord will be pleased. I'll also be satisfied. It's a very nice setup, right? And that's what the message of this verse today is. So now Arjuna has asked, right, to Krishna, that the person who is having divine consciousness, who is always serving the Lord, basically, how he acts, what are his actions, how he acts. So this is how he acts. So he's always trying to think or serve practically, serve the Lord, right? He's always trying to engage his mind, intelligence, senses, everything, all the objects, also external objects, in the service of the Lord. So that is how that person acts. So Arjuna got the answer to his fourth question as well. And then Krishna continues like this, and so many amazing. So just if we try to just develop this particular mood that nothing belongs to me, right? Nothing belongs to me, then automatically our mind is freed up, right? That is enough to free up the mind. And if we come to the right understanding after that, that nothing belongs to me, then next question is, then it belongs to whom? The answer is it belongs to Krishna. So then automatically, then okay, if everything belongs to Krishna, what am I supposed to do? This is the next question. I am supposed to serve the Lord with everything around me. Then I am free from all the attachments and I am satisfied also if the Lord is satisfied. So this is the message of Bhagavad Gita. So we'll be having just 2-3 minutes because there's another class at 7:30. So quick one question we'll take.
If nothing belongs to me, everything is Krishna, then what is our existence in this our life?
Yeah. So our existence. Yeah. So there's a very nice verse in the in scriptures. Jivera Swarup Hoy, Krishnera Nitya Das. So that is our identity. You mean to say what is our identity? Why am I existing only, right? So Jivera Swarup means, Jeev means living entity, me, or we all of us, living entity, Jeev. Swarup means identity. Who am I? Right? So Jivera Swarup Hoy, Krishnera Nitya Das. Das means servant, and then Krishnera means of Krishnas, and then Nitya means eternal. We are always the servant of Krishna. Yes, that's it. That's our identity. Because we are parts and parcels, right? If let's say this finger is the body is part, right? This finger is a part of the body. If I cut the finger and throw it out, will the finger be nourished? But if the finger is attached to the body, till the time the finger is connected to the body, the food which is going to the stomach, the nutrients will also go to the finger. The finger will also get nourished, right? Time to time. But if I cut out the finger, if I separate this finger with the body, the finger will not be nourished, right? It'll be dead. So that's why similarly, as parts and parcels, so just like finger is a part of the whole body, similarly we are parts of the complete whole, which is Krishna. Now if as a part and parcel, if I am serving the Lord, serving the whole, just like finger is serving the body, it is satisfied. Similarly, I will also be satisfied. That is my identity. That is the purpose of my existence. The moment we try to be masters, that I am the master, this mobile belongs to me, this body belongs, it all starts with this body. This body belongs to me. Then all the attachments will come up, right? The root is this, the starting point is this. Then everything will be messed up. The moment I realize that nothing belongs to me, everything belongs to Krishna, this body also, mind, everything, all the objects, then I'll start utilizing everything, my whole existence and all the objects in the service of Krishna. Then I'm free and I'm satisfied because Krishna is satisfied. That's the purpose of our existence. Right? That's it. Okay, I think we'll stop here. Maybe we can take it off, means afterwards. Maybe afterwards we can take, because 7:30 there's a class. So cannot.
My question is regarding student. If student is studying for higher competitive exam, then that concept how applies competitive?
Yeah, so we can study, right? And after study, whatever result comes, we can utilize in the service of the Lord. Let's say after study, let's say I'm doing my college studies, and then obviously I have to get employed, right, somewhere. Maybe I have to start my business, or I have to get into a company or something. I have to work, right? So that should be the result, right? So I will utilize that in the service of the Lord, right? Whatever earning I have, so I will utilize it in the service of the Lord, right? So in that way we can connect everything with the service of the Lord. So nothing is there which we cannot connect. Everything can be utilized in the service. But the only thing is we don't know how to connect it. So that's why we have to come in the association. We need to understand how can we utilize everything in the service of the Lord favorably. That's what it is. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for attending. And so this Bhagavad Gita class happens every day, Monday to Friday. So we can take the advantage of this. Every verse we are taking one day, every day. So one after another. And we also have a series called in our YouTube channel. It's called Whitefield. If you go on YouTube and just search the YouTube channel, it's called Whitefield. So we have Shloka a day. This is a series. All the verses of Bhagavad Gita, there are 700 verses. All the verses are covered in short videos. And there are many people who are watching this, even abroad. Right? Many people are getting benefited, and they are showing their gratitude also. They are expressing their gratitude to the speaker. So it's very important. I mean, it's very fruitful if we try to utilize that those series, that series of videos. These are short videos because we know that in this age we don't have much patience, right? Including me. So these are short videos, 10 minutes, 8 minutes, 12 minutes max. So 7 to 8 minutes also mostly. So if we just read one verse and then watch the corresponding video, then we'll get a very nice understanding and how to practically apply that verse in our day-to-day life. So just read one verse, see one video, and try to see, okay, how can I apply today in my office, in my studies, while I'm eating, while I'm whatever I'm doing. So how to apply that verse while I'm walking, everywhere. So this is what that. So it's very nice actually. So we can utilize that shloka a day. We can search on ISKCON Whitefield's YouTube channel. Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna.